Video number 8. Uh, I did promise myself I'll do this video today. Still finding a hard time being consistent with this. Cats, don't worry about it. But yesterday was a devastating day when it comes to me dealing with the clients. I spoke earlier in video number 7 about how the client kind of like took 3, 4 extra days, and instead of considering different things and actually spending the time, I want to say effectively and efficiently in looking at different options for products, for branding, for actually creating the vision from his side, coming back with just a bit more of the with the same vision, but just practically threw money at it. So the original issue was the segment of the house that we chose was supposed to be more laundry oriented, and we've chose a product that complements the laundry image that we're trying to build. And with that, we kind of wanted to kind of like start with the laundry and then build big. Still a valid idea, man. I'm not saying it's not a valid idea. The problem is that idea is kind of like slow moving, right? There's no, oh my God, there's more like a lot of consistency, and eventually people start basically piling up, and we create whatever it is that we're trying to create from the company that does these things, the brand that does these things. But that was my idea, that wasn't him. So him responding with the fact, just because his wife kind of didn't like it, so him responding with the fact that we need to find a different products. I recommended like a certain couple of tutorials in order for him to see for just like a different thought process. It makes sense when you're looking at something and you're like, okay, I want to see things a bit differently. So I asked him the same day if he did it because he said we're rushing and we're wasting time, and he postponed it for the next day. And he ended up kind of sending me one of those, just he managed to professionalize his the same attitude he had from the beginning, and made it clear that he was the boss, not me, and that all he cared about was my input to what he says and not actually input from me. And even though he agreed that 80% of what I said is correct, everything pertaining to his strategy, he hated the fact that I said we're definitely still going to succeed. It's just going to take more time because like I've been learning this stuff in order for us to succeed. And in my head, there's a very much practical approach where we can make something work. But I offended him. That's practically it. And as cool as I tried to be in my head, and as cool as I tried to be going over things, I found myself very much like disappointed in how it ended up because I really wanted this to work and I thought I was being humble. But the reality is, I think I did not actually, I was being not humble, more like servantish in my approach to how they're working. I did not have any control from my side, which is very much needed, especially when somebody's going loose. So, probably because I wanted to handle things in a more democratic way, in a more civilized way, or I just completely misinterpreted the effects of emotions, even though the hidden ones. So he portrayed himself to be, the best way I can explain it is an incompetent narcissist. I know, like it's just, when your thoughts start kind of building up in your head and you're heading towards something, and instead of saying no to it, which is basically what I did at first, it was like you can't be thinking that, you can't be thinking that, and then eventually you kind of like allow them to just finish in order for you to reach a conclusion so that you don't kind of like have that in your head for the whole day, which was effectively like my emotions reacting to him going apeshit on me just because I said, of course we're going to succeed, but is that the risk that we're willing to take? And I came out to be the egotistical one, which granted was a very much probably egocentric thing to say, but hey man, like I need to have some pride in what I'm trying to do, or else I'm literally going to be trampled on. So when that statement popped in my head, it kind of made me realize a whole lot of mistakes I did. And one was not clearly explaining that my my studying of the course that we paid for and the strategies for things to make it work make me more relevant than any product we decide on, because I'm practically doing all the work that's necessary for people to understand that we exist. I mean, we're talking about an online platform, right? Which we're gonna, it's not like you're on a road and you pass by an old shack or a building and you go like, oh, that looks nice. You're online. You kind of have to do a lot of effort for people to like open Google and be able to find you on the first page. You kind of have a lot of need to have a lot of traffic in order for you to make enough sales for you to be successful. And all of this is the actual work, is the branding, the advertising, the vision, the products, the positioning, the promotion, the SEO, all of the email marketing. There's like lots of ways, the WhatsApp response systems, the apps that you have to integrate in. It's just a lot of things on top of each other that kind of uniquely give you a method to success. I very much underestimated that, and I was very much passive, hoping that he would be able to kind of like go through the moods and then understand that our job is to make money instead of just arbitrarily wasting time. And I say arbitrarily because I'd imagine if I made a decision after 30 minutes, but I wait 2 hours just to make it legitimate, it's still the same decision that I made in 5 minutes. But at least with 2 hours, I can be like, I tried for 2 hours and this is what I came from. Being honest with ourselves is not as easy, or being honest with others is even harder, I guess, because ultimately, if I'm honest with you, then I kind of have to have resolved the honesty or the thing with myself. Just a lot of philosophical shit. But honestly, I did not like the fact that I was thinking about him that kind of way. Uh, Regardless, articulating my feelings, I kind of like lost a lot of respect, and I don't see this actually moving in any sense of direction. But in order for me to be a professional, and given that I actually offended him, or he got offended, that's the better way to say it, because, like, I didn't have any intention, but I could have used different wordings. I could have responded differently. I could have just. I think I was smart enough to respond in a way that doesn't implicate me as me trying to be passively, what the fuck are you talking about? But also, I should have understood that even though I tried to not implicate myself, it still gave a result that's unfavorable. So, that. I ended up writing a full apology letter, which I genuinely, as a professional, believe in. But I ended the letter with, this has to be resolved in a formal way where I understand completely what I'm doing so that I can tell you what I need from you in order to get my job done, because I'm literally getting paid for this. Now, granted that the initial conversation was me partnering up with him, ended up with me just being having a share, and eventually being having a share of the sale, and now just me being an employee. So again, in his quest to show me that he needs to be respected, or to earn respect, or to prove that he deserves respect, he kind of lost all my respect. And that's one thing that's been on my mind all day, is like, fuck, that's a huge thing, right? Like, the last thing you want is to actually lose the image that you kind of would have wanted the person you're trying to work with to have. Because ultimately, that kind of shows that you have to be a bit more calculating in every single step you do. And honesty doesn't serve any purpose except for light more fires. So, what would a professional do at this point? And I imagine just enhance the sales pitch, because ultimately, I have to figure out if this is the job that I want to like have while I'm working on my other stuff, then how invested am I in it? and how much of my effort slash time am I actually willing to give. And the more I asked myself that question, the more I sat down and I did one of those, like, not mind mapping, but more mind structuring, as in, like, what is my priority, and what are my secondary priority, what are my first priorities, secondary priorities, and, like, not so, the things I must do, the things that need to be done, and the things that I would like to do, lists. And bruh, they were bumped down to three, so they're the third of on my lists. So I would like to do this, but I'd like to do this on my own terms. So I sent him a message with a full formal contract where I will be negotiating my work with them if that actually happens. To be perfectly truthful, I would like the money to be a thing, but I also wrote down that one of my priorities is to refix my CV and start applying for work in tech. So this is the part of me that kind of, like, doesn't see this working out anymore. Even though I already have in my mind everything that I would like to be doing once we actually get products. I'm hoping, I'm planning when I actually get a job that would be a side hustle of mine. So the job's main purpose is for me to actually up my skills when it comes to programming and coding, because I need that for the website that I'm building. I'm still doing that on my own, but at least working in tech would allow me, like, exposure to people, and I'll be able to ask questions that change the way my mind sees things. And that's the priority. And that the month that I spent studying this stuff would literally have to be my own investment later on in the future. So yay! Let's see how Monday goes, because that's when I'm supposed to meet with them and discuss what the fuck we're on about. Yeah, yeah, I'm not excited for that meeting, but I'm more excited to see the things that I prioritized actually be done. Video number 8. Shit got weird, bro. If anyone's watching, you guys are badasses. You're awesome. Thank you very much for being interested. Bye.